There has been so much change at Manchester United as INEOS sweep out the old and in with a new football structure. It might have been hard to understand exactly where all the changes have happened and what they actually mean. So, let me explain to you Man United's new football structure, exactly what has changed, and what it means next season under Ten Hag. We've been wanting change for years as Manchester United fans, and to say that we've got change is pretty much an understatement over these last 12 months, and especially in the last 6. I'm going to try and explain to you the structure that existed when Ralf Rangnick was manager, the structure that existed when Ten Hag was first manager, and I'm going to show you with the hierarchy that I've drawn out for what it is now, because it's completely different, and I hope you'll be able to understand it more. So please, if you can, hit the like button and subscribe to United People's TV if you're new. It makes a big difference to the channel. It really, really does. But let me show you what the hierarchy was when Ralf Rangnick was in charge, because we can start with this one. So many of this is now gone. Vamos. See you later. Gone. See ya. Bye. Gone. Matt Judge. Whoop. Pretty sure Jim Lawler and Marcel Bout left as well. So you can see how much of that structure that existed under Rangnick is now not at Manchester United. We go here next, right? Under Ten Hag. And we go to start. You're gone. You're gone. Currently gone, but soon to be, I think. Justin Cochrane's not there, and the rest is still here in some capacity. But let me show you now, with this custom-made, I drew out this hierarchy, and I've done the best job I possibly can do, all right, to help you understand. Here we go. We're looking at the new Manchester United hierarchy, and I'm going to explain the links between who's in charge of who and where the hierarchy is, because it's that power structure. It's who's got support from where, right? And that's what we've never had before. Of course, you got Joel Glazer, and you got Jim Ratcliffe at the top of the tree. But they really shouldn't have much involvement whatsoever. Well, certainly not Joel Glazer anyway, but Jim Ratcliffe should just be sign-off. Omar Berrada, of course, the man at the top of the tree. Well, not the top of the tree. At the top of the footballing structure on the day-to-day basis. Huge experience. And I don't really know whether Jean-Claude Blanc's going to be staying at Manchester United anymore or whether he's going to be stepping back. You know, because they need to create that degree of separation. Not quite sure. But he's there as interim CEO until Berrada comes in. Dave Brailsford, I've got operations auditor. There was no title next to Dave Brailsford. But he's been the man who come in and he's basically overseen the integration of all of this new structure. Don't really know whether he's going to have to stay up, whether he's just going on a board. Same with Jean-Claude Blanc. Unsure of both. But then we move down to, I would argue, the most important person in terms of us as Manchester United fans. He's the man who's going to be making the difference. Dan Ashworth. He's the man that everybody's going to be calling into. Christopher Vivell, that's your point of contact. Jason Wilcox, that's your point of contact. Ten Hag, that's your point of contact. At no point should Ten Hag need to reach out to Ratcliffe directly or try and speak to Brailsford or even try and speak to Berrada. No. The only thing that should really need to happen is Ten Hag speak to Dan Ashworth and Dan Ashworth deals with it. Support structure. We haven't had it before. Now we've got it. And Christopher Vivell, I'm particularly looking forward to seeing him start. He's got the experience, the talent ID to really take this recruitment to a place where it hasn't been for a long time. Steve Brown, he's currently been... So prior to Christopher Vivell's arrival, Steve Brown, right? Head of recruitment operations. He'd have all the scouts down here. You can see in the notes, right? There's a lot more that could be in this. Scouts, analysts, lots and lots of people. But this chart would be way too big and you wouldn't understand it. So Steve Brown's in charge of the scouts, but now instead of it being Steve Brown recommending to who? John Murtough? He can now go into Christopher Vivell and he can help, and we can probably speed up the decision-making process, not miss out on players, and also spot better players. It's going to be a huge appointment. Now, Jason Wilcox, I see Jason Wilcox as the Dave Brailsford of the football club. Dave Brailsford was the auditor and the operations director, really, for everything Manchester United, looking at the business side and the football side since INEOS have taken over. I think Jason Wilcox on a more of a day-to-day basis, that David Harrison's in director of football operations. I think he'll stay there. And he's, I don't know if you need to organise team buses or... It's clearly a lot bigger than that. But the actual admin-y side, maybe, of running a football team, of making sure everything's in the right place at the right time, Dave Harrison will take charge of that, and I think Jason Wilcox will oversee that. But of course, Jason Wilcox will have a link back. Can't really draw this one in, to Ten Hag. because he's going to be there sort of implementing the game model. So he will have a direct oversight, really, of this whole football team here. So it's not as if Jason Wilcox is just going to be in charge of, as I said, the admin side of things. I think he'll be on both, so I probably should have drawn a line there. Let's go next. Dominic Jordan, head of data science. Now, you might find data quite boring, but data is crucial in the modern game. And I imagine Dominic will have a beeline straight for Dan Ashworth not if he finds anything, but United will be conducting, actually data-wise as well, will be feeding directly into Christopher Vivell in terms of these are the scouting reports that we've done. So it'll be, as you can see, I should probably draw a line there between Steve and Dominic. Data is going to become even more important in Manchester United, and so it should. But that's like the football structure and support side of things. And a lot of this, we haven't had people to actually do before. Erik Ten Hag had to do a lot of it, and he wasn't qualified for it. And then we move over to Erik Ten Hag, and then we've got big changes here on this side. You'll see that there is no Mitchell van der Gag, because Laurie Whitwell's reported that he is going to be leaving Manchester United. And then we've got Rene Hacker coming in as a new assistant manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I've got Steve McLaren down there, and there's a question mark at the end, right? I don't know whether Steve McLaren's going to stay on as an assistant manager or whether he's going to be moved into a slightly different named role. I don't know. At this moment in time, that's same with Darren Fletcher. I've got a question mark next to him because I don't know exactly what the role is, but it's changing. Of course, we've got, was it Yeled Ten Rulua, new goalkeeping coach. Do we even have a set-piece coach anymore? Of course, he would go there, and there'd be a lot more coaches, as I say. A lot more coaches, but you can't fit them all on here. This is just the overall main structure. These are the new faces coming in. And yeah, if we have I'm pretty sure Eric Ramsey was the set-piece coach before, and he's left. So do Manchester United make one more coaching appointment? I don't know. Let's find out. And below them, you've got Nick Cox in the academy. And can I just say, I think I say this every time I speak about Nick Cox, I'd love to get him on the channel for an interview because I think the work that he has done with the academy has been brilliant. Really has been. And Darren Fletcher, I've got what? Academy first team integration. I think Darren Fletcher will have like a direct line of communication with Erik Ten Hag in terms of Ethan Wheatley or Jack Fletcher or Tyler Fletcher or Amir Ibrahimov or Shea Lacey. He'll be the ones speaking. I imagine he'll have a direct line of communication, with Erik Ten Hag saying these players are ready and these players aren't. And also he will be able to help younger players with their first team integration. I think he's going to be remember his last role was technical director. He won't be that anymore. Absolutely won't be that anymore. And across here we've got Gary O'Driscoll as head of sports medicine and Jordan Rees. Please can you two work miracles this year? Please. For the love of God, don't give Manchester United as many injury problems next year as we had. Jeez. So that there, ladies and gents, is as far as I can tell. A lot of this is interpretation, but it's an educated guess. I mean, I spend enough time talking about Manchester United. I think I'm pretty confident in saying this. Maybe the Athletic will do an update on that. But just look at this as a comparison, right? This was Erik Ten Hag's support network when he came in. Erik Ten Hag had one line of communication with John Murtough, who didn't really know what he was doing. And if he didn't do that, he would speak what? Directly to Richard Arnold, who knew nothing about football. Nothing at all. And what? You're going to then speak to Joel Glazer directly? Terrible. If there was ever a problem, how would he fix it? Now, if there's a problem, he goes straight to Dan Ashworth. If Dan Ashworth then needs to take that up to the CEO level before he can fix it, then he will. If not, Dan Ashworth will solve that problem. Erik Ten Hag can now, instead of having to look over here, over there, over there, over there, scrap all of that. Erik Ten Hag, your job now, just look down. Just look at your coaches. Just look at the academy. Just look at anything to do with football, anything to do with the medical side of things. Now, all Erik Ten Hag needs to focus on is the football side. Everything else over here, there is a full structure in place. And Erik Ten Hag, don't know why I drew that one. Erik Ten Hag didn't have to get involved in it. Complicated there a little bit at the end. I got excited. I hope that helped you understand what the structure is. But look at that transformation from when Erik Ten Hag came in there to what it is now. And maybe there'll be one or two more appointments, but as far as I can see, that is it. And you can see over here on the left, by the way, I don't really know what the point of a Matt Hargreaves anymore. Director of the player negotiations, that might have been needed when we didn't have Christopher Vivell and Dan Ashworth, and even Omar Berrada. But we've got 3 people who are more than capable and experienced in football negotiations. I don't really see how he keeps his job, but there's been no confirmation that he's leaving. And Andy O'Boyle, maybe he will just go underneath Dan Ashworth as his deputy sporting director, just in the same way that he was for John Murtough. I don't quite know that one either. But as far as I know, that's where we're at. You let me know what you think in the comments below. How confident are you that that solves everything? It doesn't solve everything at Manchester United, but we finally got the structure in place. That means the manager can just focus on managing. And we haven't been able to say that since Fergie. Seriously.